Hi y'all, what's up? I'm here having a little coffee. I'm from Long Island, but I don't have a Long Island accent. That's how my mom talks. So, I have no idea why I don't have a Long Island accent. By the way, everyone's always like, "You're not from Long Island. You don't have the accent." I'm like, "No, but I am." My 5th grade teacher was like, "Where did you move here from?" And I was like, I didn't move here. I've always been from here." He was like, "I thought you were from like Oregon." Just always been a weirdo. Oh, puppy wants to say hi. So what are we here to talk about tonight? Oh, I've been guided to talk about these voices that I hear, and my cousin and some people, they were like, "Oh, well, like, have you always heard these voices? What is it like?" And no, I haven't. I haven't always heard these voices. I've got some nice candles for us here too. A little ambiance in my shitty ass desk mess. Creative types, we're not the most organized, right? But I own it. I'd rather be creative and messy than not. So I had one beer this evening. Before we get into that, I had one beer this evening. It had been like 6 weeks since I'd had any alcohol, and whoo, I was drunk, and I'm still a little tiny bit drunk, but I'm not really. It's like you know how you can feel it's like the very end of the tipsy thing. That's what's happening. So I'm just being real. I had a beer, and now I'm having coffee. I told myself, like, I ate dinner, and then it was like, are you going to have a beer or a coffee? And then it was like, gotta pick one or the other, and it was like, okay, I feel like having a beer. And then I finished the beer, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and have that coffee now. It's decaf, so hopefully it won't be up all night. So, anyway, what's with these motherfucking voices you hear, Katie? That sounds crazy. It is crazy. Crazy awesome. So, the answer to have I always heard these voices is it's yes and no, actually. It's no because it wasn't so obvious. I probably was hearing them, or whenever we're inspired or we have like a repetitive idea over and over again, that's pretty much hearing from our team, our spirit team, our guides, our formless beings that are here to help us step into our most courageous, fearless, expansive, limitless self. So no, I didn't hear them. The first time I heard a message, this is really quite incredible. It was in 2012. In October of 2012, I attended an outstanding workshop at my yoga studio. It was given by Dr. Manoj Chalam, and it was on the deities, on the Hindu deities, which are pretty woven into the yoga practice. And, Ganesh, Lakshmi, Durga, Shiva, Saraswati, etc. All those amazing people. Not people, gods and goddesses. So I attended this lecture, and they had these absolutely gorgeous statues that were from India. They were the real deal, real metal, and they had been chanted into. So they were said to hold this vibration of this real spiritual power. And at the time, I was like, I was like, wow, that's really beautiful. That's a really beautiful idea, but I don't really believe that. But at the same time, I was very drawn. I was very intrigued. And Dr. Manoj Chalam, you should Google him. He's an incredible speaker and teacher, and pretty much changed my life. And he gives this lecture, and then he sells these amazing statues after he goes through each of them and teaches about them. And I felt very drawn to Ganesh, as many yogis are, and he's the elephant god. And I sat there, and I wasn't making very much money at the time. And for whatever reason, I was so drawn to this Ganesh statue. And again, these are all the real deal, spiritual powers, magical things happen to you if you buy one of these, you know. That's what they said. I was like, oh, they're just trying to get us to spend all this money. Even though I loved the lecture, and the deeper part of me knew that it wasn't shit, right? My ego was like, you know, such a, like, angry New York, you know, jaded New Yorker, like, it's trying to rip me off. That voice is such an asshole. So I fucking fall in love with this Ganesh. Here he is. I spend like $400. There he is. So this is, I could do a whole video on Ganesh. He's my man. But yeah, they're saying don't get into that now. If you book a session with me, we can talk more about Ganesh. So I buy this Ganesh. I'm going to put him on my lap like he's my little baby. And, oh, he says he likes that. Ganesh is one of my guides. So then what happens is I buy the statue, whatever, nothing happens for a month. I'm a very dedicated yoga practice at the time. Not anymore at all. But at the time, super, super religiously into yoga. I practice every day, usually for an hour. And about maybe 6 weeks after I bought the statue, he's in my living room, and I'd leave for work and I'd be like, "Hi, Ganesh-y," and I'm practicing yoga this one day, and I'm sitting in meditation, and I'm like there. It's like, you know, if you've practiced meditation or yoga or like these spiritual practices, you know when you like have this day and this moment in your practice where it's like, holy shit, and you're out of here, right? You don't know who you are anymore. You don't know your name. You just feel so motherfucking good. You just don't even care. So I'm in that place in my meditation when there are just no thoughts. Doesn't happen very often. As dedicated as I was as a yogi, and as dedicated as I am now to spirit and to prayer and to meditation, not so much asana, but to meditation, you just don't get there very often. People think, oh, meditation, I have to quiet my mind, I have to stop all of it. No, you don't. Please, people who've been teaching yoga, meditation for 20 years, they sit down to meditate and they're just like, it's the hamster on the treadmill the whole time. So it's not about turning it off, right? It's not about turning it off. But anyway, I'll never forget this in my life. So I'm sitting there in meditation, and it's amazeballs, and I start to come back from it. And again, Ishta Yoga in New York, that practice is, so in the meditation you bring the energy up to the crown of your head, well, to the third eye, and then it usually just kind of naturally kicks up to the crown of the head. And then you do this whole practice where there's like these chants with the deities, so the mind is Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, and you do this whole chant, and then you kind of bring the energy down, and then you get to the throat, and it's Om Aim Saraswatiye Namaha. Saraswati is this beautiful goddess of expression, and so, right, this is your voice, right, your voice box here, using your voice, expressing yourself. So it's bringing the energy back down through all the chakras. And I get to the Ganesh chakra, which is the root, placing my thumbs in my hip crease, my fingers wrapped around, right? Not that that's important, but just so you can see. And I close my eyes, and I don't even remember if I did the chant, which is Om Gam Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And it was as if my body was a gong and someone or something struck it, and my entire body was just vibrating with this amazing energy. And this huge, I have chills, this huge booming voice said to me, Katie, you can do anything that you want. Anything that you want to do in this life, you can do it. But it wasn't like that. It wasn't like my voice. It was, it was this huge, huge bellowing voice. And then it was gone, right? And then it was like, it lasted for maybe a few seconds after that, and then it was gone, and the feeling of my body being struck, right, or vibrating, that ended, and the voice was gone, and I was like, what was that? Because that wasn't me. That wasn't my thought. That wasn't my idea. That wasn't my energy. That was a different energy that was inside of my body that was extremely powerful. And then I remembered and realized that I had bought this Ganesh statue, and Ganesh, some of you know, who practice yoga or who are in the spiritual community, Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. So he was coming into my life to tell me, to remove my obstacles, to say, Katie, you're not living your dreams, and you can. You can live the life that you want. You can do it. I didn't do it. I was too scared. I reached out to my friend who hears from guides and is a Reiki practitioner and amazing, and she had posted on Facebook that she hears from Ganesh, and she hears from Jesus, and she hears from blah, blah, blah. She was like the one person I knew who I knew wouldn't think I was crazy, so I told her. And she was like, just so you know, like, this is totally fine. It's totally normal. This happens to people all the time. She was so sweet. And of course I was like, oh, yeah, sure, it's totally normal. And then I shut it down, and I didn't hear anything else for a while. And then my fucking life fell apart. My life as I knew it ended. My relationship ended. I had to move. I lost my main yoga client. I had my cell phone stolen. I lost everything because I was not living in integrity with my heart, with my alignment to who I really am, with my heart, with my dreams. I was living out of alignment, and so this dude was like, oh, I'm just going to start tearing it down so that you have to find yourself, find your heart, and find your dreams, right? And I was like, you're ruining my life, right? But he was actually giving me my life. He was actually giving me my life. Oh, I got super injured and like could barely even walk or teach yoga. I had 2 herniated discs in my lower back. Whatever. This is a whole other story. That's going to be in my book. That whole fucking story. It all worked out, you guys. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all of the struggles that I went through in 2014 because it was birth pains, right? It was birthing pains. Look at me now. I'm so happy, and I get to talk to Jesus, and he talks back. I mean, this is fucking great. And it never would have happened had I not been through all of that pain, you know? Lotuses grow out of the mud. We all go through that time in our life where we're in that fucking mud and we're drowning in it and we're just fighting every day I'm burping. This is my beer coffee burp. We're fighting every day, you know, to try to get out of that mud. And it's a struggle. Sometimes, you know, it's like, I feel like everyone has a turn where it's like an entire year of that, pretty much. For me, it was. So, cheers to that if you're going through that time. One for my homies. So that was the first time. Then I shut it down because it totally freaked me out. And because I shut it down, and because I was shutting myself down, everything shut down. And then I moved to California. Fast forward. Then what was the next real? So the next time was kind of, I was dating someone, and I don't remember what happened, but I don't know if I like practiced yoga a lot, meditated, or if I like went and got a massage. Oh, that's what it was. I went and got a massage, and I just had this idea that was like angel cards, angel tarot cards, angel tarot cards. And I was like, I gotta go get angel tarot cards. I went and got them, and I started pulling cards for myself, and it was like, you've got to be kidding me. And with the person I was seeing at the time, I was about to travel to go see them. We were doing long distance thing, so I was going to meet him. And I pulled this card that was like, a difficult situation is coming to an end. And at the time, this relationship was going really well. And I asked about the weekend. I was like, what is the energy of this weekend going to be? And I pulled this card and I said, this is a difficult situation that is coming to an end. We broke up after that weekend. Literally 3 days later. The day that he left, the second that he got home, he called me and ended it. And going into that weekend, I had no idea. When I pulled that card, I had no idea. So that happened. So that wasn't a voice, but again, this is, they speak to us through these guys too, right? The cards. So then the time after that, this is really now when it started to build. Then I have this fairy deck, fairies, fairy deck, fairies. So I'm like, okay. I go by the fairy deck. I love it. I grew up loving Peter Pan. I've always loved fairies. I love their little wings, and I just connected to it so much. So I go by this fairy deck, and I had this weekend lined up of doing like all this shit. Like I had just had it booked solid. And towards about like the Wednesday of before the weekend, I just started canceling everything. And I didn't know why. Like I was supposed to like hang out with my friend, who's amazing, and I was like, I just can't be with people right now. It was Easter weekend. And I started canceling things. Canceled the whole weekend. I was like, all right, now I'm not seeing anyone or doing anything for this whole weekend. But it felt right. I asked about what I should do. I asked the fairy deck what I should do. Pulled this card that said vacation. I was like, I need to go away. I need to get away for the weekend. That's exactly what I need. That's exactly why I started canceling everything. So I booked just this little getaway for me and my pup, who's sleeping. She's like, so it's 11:30 at night right now. I'm a night owl. My dog is like, by the time it's 10:30, she's like, I'm fucking done with you. She just like goes to bed. And then like literally will like look at me like when I'm being loud, and I wake her up with my weird videos about talking to fairies and them talking back. So I pull the vacation card. I go on the vacation. As I'm driving out, I had been reading this amazing book called Let Love In by a hypnotherapist. So then all of a sudden, I'm very, very drawn to hypnotherapy and hypnosis. And it's not what you think. It's not like, look into my eyes. It's not like that at all. It's basically yoga nidra, if you know that. It's meditation. It's like all of this other stuff where we're getting into the deeper layers of our consciousness. So I'm reading this amazing book that's got self-hypnosis techniques in it. So now I'm motherfucking Googling hypnotherapy and shit all the time. I'm driving out on this vacation, 10 minutes onto the freeway from my apartment. I see this exit that says Hypnosis Motivation Institute. I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta go get hypnosis, right? So anyway, I have this absolutely incredible getaway. I'm so refreshed. It was everything I ever needed. I just feel so joyful. I went to the beach. I got to exercise a lot. I got to read books, whatever. Meditated, just very relaxing. I come back, and I really took a break from electronics, which is very important. Everyone, take a break from your electronics. I come back, and I Google Hypnosis Motivation Institute. You can have 6 free sessions at the Hypnosis Motivation Institute. That is 10 minutes from my apartment, which I would have never discovered had I not listened to that voice that said, buy the Fairy Tarot card deck, pulled the vacation card, canceled everything, went on the vacation, despite any superficial worries about finances. Like, I just need this and I'm just going to do it. And then look at that benefit. I have these 6 sessions. It's completely amazing. It's completely life-changing. So there's that. But again, that's still not hearing this like auditory thing that I have now. Then I practiced yoga, I meditated at home, and then I went to go meet a friend to have a coffee. And as I'm talking to him, he's talking about one of his ex-girlfriends, and like a bell going off in my head. The word resentment, 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 resentment. Even though he was talking about her very kindly, he was going resentment, 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 resentment. And again, I was like, that's not me. That's not what I'm thinking about. And it was so loud, again, really like bells. It was, yeah, the fairies are laughing, because it was the fairies. It was so loud that I couldn't hear what he was saying for like a good 30 seconds. And I was like, okay, and I just kind of tried to like keep my composure and like act like a fucking normal person while talking to him. And one of my best friends just texted me. So I then get in my car and I'm like, all right, fairies, I heard that resentment thing. What were you trying to tell me? And they were like, resentment towards his mother. And I was like, this is a friend of mine who really wants to have a girlfriend. He's really wonderful. He really wants companionship. And so I kept asking them leading questions, and they told me what's keeping him from having a loving, committed relationship and companion in life is unexpressed, unrecognized resentment towards his mother. It's like a psychic block that his relationship with his mother, right? All of us, if you know psychotherapy, if you've worked with a therapist, Freud, you know that our relationship with our parents dictates so much of how we end up being with a romantic partner. That's why romantic partners, it can get very dramatic and very intense, because it brings up all of our stuff from our childhood that's unrecognized and has not been dealt with, and that is begging to be dealt with. So I'm at home and I was like, do you guys want me to tell him? And they were like, yes. So I text him and I'm like, so this is really weird, but like while you were talking, the word resentment was going off in my head like bells, and then I got in my car and I heard from fairies, and the fairies told me that this relationship, your relationship with girls aren't working out because of resentment towards your mom. And God bless him, I love you, you know who you are. He was like, that's amazing, thank you so much for telling me that. I definitely will consider that, and will consider going to therapy, and I want to work on myself, and I'm so, yeah, they're telling me that they gave me him so that because he's very open, and so that it was a good practice for me, for my gifts, to get comfortable with them, to have someone, to have the first person that I shared this with just be so sweet and so thankful. He's like the sun, right? I call him the sun when I hang out with him, because he's just a huge light of a person. So that motherfucking happened. And then basically ever since then, and then I got attuned in Reiki. I got attuned in Reiki about a month ago, and that I was so, after that session with my friend, that was my first unofficial session, then it was like pretty consistent after that. Go here, do this, do that. And it's just unbelievable. And it's made my life so magical and so powerful and fun, and also very inconvenient. I mean, I was guided. I went for a walk yesterday, and it's like, it's this thing of learning how to trust it and let go of control. Because I was going for a walk the other day, and they were like, turn over here, and I was like, I'm going over there, I don't want to go over there. And it was like, turn over here, turn over here, turn over here, and I was like, ugh. And I went into the 7-Eleven, and part of it was because my dog needed water. It was like, I had her with me, and it was like super hot out. And I went into the 7-Eleven, and they're trying to get me, they sent me on a mission to get me more comfortable with, one, using my voice, second of all, healing people, third of all, with mediumship. Because now what started to happen is that I don't only hear from gods and goddesses and guides and angels and formless beings, but I hear from people's loved ones who have passed. And the first person, my dear, dear, dear teacher, I have one tattoo, and it's in dedication to my amazing, incredible teacher and friend who has saved my life so many times, and I'm so grateful for. His father passed in February, and at some point in May, I was in the shower, and I heard from his dad. And his dad told me it's kind of personal, so I won't share it, but he just like delivered this message. And again, they just guided me to have the courage to actually share it with him. And, you know, again, the whole time I'm thinking, oh God, he's going to think I'm crazy. But this is the other thing that I'm learning, is that people are so much more open to this than I ever could have imagined. And for you guys, who you really are and what you really think and what you're really going to say, it's really, it's so much of us being in our head that it's not going to be received well. It's really just this like demon of deception, this demon of our ego that tells us that we're going to be judged and we're going to be put down and we're going to be made to feel small and weird, and it's really not happening. I actually feel more accepted and loved than I ever have in my life. And that's because I'm accepting and loving myself more than I ever have in my life. And I'm just, my relationship, everyone's, all of my relationships are simply a mirror for the relationship that I have with myself. All of your relationships are simply a mirror for the relationship that you have with yourself, for the way that you talk to yourself, the way that you treat yourself, the way that you feel about yourself. On 3 levels: thinking, feeling, and doing. So as I've loved and accepted myself more in my crazy ass, who hears from Ganesh, Jesus, Archangel Michael, Fairies, Lakshmi, who else? Isis is a big one for me. She really like helped me transform. Oh, I don't think I ever finished saying before that then when I got attuned in Reiki, I was hearing from the voices consistently, and then I got attuned in Reiki in mid-May, and it was like, it just blew the lid off. Like, and now it's just like totally nonstop. So But yeah, it's just they're constantly like, go over here, do this, do that. So I got guided to go into the 7-Eleven because the worker at 7-Eleven, at the cashier, her father recently passed away, right? And I know this because he started talking to me as I'm at the register. It's like, it's so beautiful and so great to have this gift, but it's also like, can't I just be like a normal person buying water? But they're saying no, because you don't want to be a normal person. You want to be this like powerful healer, and you chose this life and you chose these gifts, and that's why you have them. So you're right. Thank you. But I'm walking up to the register, and I just look at someone's energy, and I can feel everything. I can feel so many things that have happened to them in their life, and what's going to happen to them, and who, if their grandmother passed or whatever. So with this woman, her father had a heart attack and died within the past year, and he wanted me to tell her that that he loved her very much, and that he knew that she was very upset that he was gone, but that it was just his time to go, and for her to know that it was really just his time, and to try to make peace with that, and for him to know that he loved her very much. And so my heart is racing, and I'm like, how can I say this to this woman who I don't, in this middle, it's the ghetto-ass 7-Eleven, by the way, like in the ghetto in Van Nuys. And I chickened out. I didn't do it. And I walked out of the 7-Eleven, and I was like, it didn't feel right, And, we all have to do what we're being asked to do, even if it's uncomfortable. We all have to do what we're being asked to do. And because when we take that comfortable road, when we take that road where it's like, no, it's, I need to just stay in my own bubble, and what if it makes them uncomfortable, and what if it's scary, and what if I get hurt, and what if they yell at me, and I'm just going to stay safe, I'm going to stay comfortable, right? Nothing ever comes from us staying in our comfort zone. Nothing ever comes from us denying this undeniable feeling to act, to say something, and then not doing it. So I am still human, obviously, because I failed at my mission that I was sent on. I actually walked back into the 7-Eleven, and I stood there like a crazy person in the middle of the store. The woman had gone into the back, and I stood there for a couple of minutes, and I was like, what happened? And they were like, it's too late. She went in the back. But I also asked, was she blocking the message because she was scared? And they said maybe. So, but again, I should have delivered the message. There's not anyone who doesn't want to hear that their father who's passed and they miss terribly loves them and is watching over them. So lesson learned. I will listen every time. Yeah, so I'm being guided to offer a class. I'm going to offer a video class really soon on how to, so that's my story, to wrap that up. And, I wanted to tell one more thing. Okay, this is one of the most powerful things that has ever happened, other than the Ganesh thing for me. My neighbor came over the other night, and she and I have had this, it's been a very karmic relationship where, again, we're very much put here to learn from each other, because we have just been on this motherfucking roller coaster together, where we've gone from like loving each other to hating each other to loving each other to hating each other, and it's very complicated, it's very enmeshed. We have each other's like apartment keys, we take care of each other's dogs, and it's like, well, are we friends or do we just take care of each other's dogs? Whatever. So she's amazing. I love you. So she came over. I haven't seen her in a long time, and she came over to talk. And I started telling her, hey girl, I'm psychic now. Haven't seen you in a couple months, but just so you know, if you ever want to talk to some angels and some fairies and shit, I'm your gal. And I just started telling her some of these stories. And then I was like, well, what's new with you? And she was very interested, by the way. And then she was like, well, what's new with you? And she started talking. And it's one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen. These golden wings, just these massive, I'm going to cry, these massive golden glowing wings come out behind her like this. And I saw in my mind's eye this embrace, her angel hug her. And my mind went, Archangel Jophiel. Archangel Jophiel is not on my team. I'm not really familiar with her. I don't even know how I remembered her name because they've never pulled her card. I have her card in the card deck, but I've never pulled it before. I don't know anything about her. I don't know what she stands for, what she helps you with. And I was like, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. Archangel Jophiel just gave you this huge hug. And wait a second. And I go and I get my cards and I go to find the Archangel Jophiel card so I can show her who it was. And meanwhile, she's still here. I'm feeling her presence. And I pull out the cards and it's on the top. Archangel Jophiel is the card on the top of the deck. It was so powerful. And then I brought the card over to her and I said, this is her. She's been watching over you for your entire life. And then again, she started delivering this message through me because my neighbor is also a healer. She's amazing. She's going to school for clinical psychology, and she's very kind, open, sensitive, light, loving, heart, energy person. And I just so her angel, Jophiel, knew that she was very open to her and that she was so excited to talk to her through me. And so she delivered this massive message of, my neighbor's going to be moving, actually. And so she had me tell her that she was ready to go and that she had overcome so many obstacles and that she was so proud of her and that she loved her and that she was just entering this period of her life now where she was going to shine because she's overcome so much that she is now going to shine so brightly in her life and have so much happiness that is so deserved because she had worked so hard. My roommate, I call her my roommate because we're practically roommates. My neighbor is crying. I'm crying. You can't make this shit up, you guys. I mean, I didn't even know that fucking angel. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not making this up. My ego didn't choose this life, but I guess the deeper part of me chose this life and this gift. And I want to share it with you. So I'm going to be offering a class soon, and they're having me say it over the video and publicly so that I actually have to do it. Thanks, guys! So they will just keep pushing you past your limits. And it's the best thing for you, of course, just like your personal trainer. Gotta get that six-pack, you gotta work. So you gotta go past the comfort zone. So, but also be loving with yourself and gentle. So I'm going to offer this class on how to hear your angels, your guides, how to trust your intuition, your gut, and your heart, and to live and act from those places rather than up here, which only really just creates chaos and confusion because it's not connected. You may not end up having these psychedelic experiences that I have. But again, just a teaser or a taste is, you probably hear from them without realizing that because the way that they come to us are through repetitive thoughts, repetitive ideas, feelings, feathers, if you see feathers around, music, if you hear a song over and over again and there's often the lyrics in the song or like the emotional current or environment of the song will give you an answer to something that you've been asking about. I'll play this fun game now where I'll ask a question and then I turn on the radio in the car and I go to a random station and I see what words come out, and a lot of the time it's very accurate and very sound guidance. So I'm going to be offering this class. I'm going to record it probably, I'm going to record it this next week, they're telling me, and it's going to be about an hour-and-a-half lecture, and then it's going to cost $40, and then you and I, whoever signs up for it, you can just email me all your questions and stuff back and forth, and there's no extra charge for that. Or you could do a quick FaceTime or Skype thing about it, which would probably be even better. So I'm going to give you some techniques to start to tap into your intuition, which is really the same thing as tapping, or almost the same thing as tapping into your team of people who want you to live an awesome, happy, joyful, loving life way outside of your comfort zone. But don't worry, they take it slow. They'll take it slow with you. And I'm offering healings, one-on-one healings, donation-based. Donation-based for now. I will be going to a set rate in July, so I would recommend booking a session now while you can, while it's reasonable, and as reasonable as you would like it to be. I'm doing the sessions one-on-one over Skype or over FaceTime, and then payments can be sent through either PayPal or Venmo. I really want to help you. Obviously, I want to make money, but I also, me and my team, know that this is what we're here to do, is we're here to teach people how to fucking love themselves. We're here to teach people to do that by teaching people to be authentic with themselves, to stand up for themselves, to listen to their intuition, and to just fucking rock out, you guys. To help with your relationships, to help with your career. So again, any problem that is in your life, any challenges you're facing, it's all just this mirror of your relationship with yourself, your beliefs, your feelings, your thoughts. And that is creating this energy field that is attracting any challenges, any relationship blips, drama, right? Not that you don't beat yourself up about that, but it's just to start getting this awareness that your relationship to yourself, it's what dictates everything. How many friends you have, the quality of the friends you have, how much money you make. Your energy field dictates everything. So we're going to work on making your energy field an energy field of love, so that you get lots of love, and love can come in the form of money too, and that ain't a bad thing. Alright, bitches, me and Ganesh love you. I love my coffee, which has a couple grinds in it, but I love it anyway. And you guys have a beautiful, beautiful Father's Day. And I was about to go into a thing with fathers, but it's like, oh man, that's like way too much. We're already at 43 minutes. So, alright, you guys. I'll see you soon. Mwah. Sending you love. Keep breathing. Hang in there if you're going through some shit. Alright, bye.